I'm Angela Twitchell. I'm the Executive Director of the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust, and I have been involved with the Land Trust since 2000 when I joined the board, and then I became Executive Director in 2008. This year, 2023, I'm going to be leaving. So it's fun to get to talk to you a little bit about my reflections on my time with the organization. When I first moved to the Brunswick-Topsham area was 1999, and I was working at the Nature Conservancy and Maine Coast Heritage Trust, but knew I wanted to get involved with the local land trust in the area because land conservation is really important to me. I became a member and joined the board shortly after in 2000. And you notice right away that it was a great organization. It's been around since 1985. They'd done some really exciting projects like Crystal Spring Farm. It was a great way for me to get to know the community. I immediately sort of jumped into working on land conservation and working on the lands committee, getting to understand all of the really amazing places in the towns of Brunswick-Topsham and Bowdoin. It was really incredible for me as someone new to the area. And now, 23 years later, getting to see how many of those places we as an organization have been able to conserve and open up to the public really brings me a lot of joy. So here, we're today at Head of Tide Park in Topsham, which is on the Catchance River, which has been a big focus of conservation during my time at the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. It's an amazing river. It feels really wild, even though we're here in the Brunswick-Topsham area. Head of Tide Park for me is a really great example of the way that the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust looks at land conservation. We partnered with a lot of different groups, the town of Topsham, the selectmen, the Conservation Commission, the state of Maine, and the federal government to get funding. And we worked with several different landowners to piece together this park over time. This project took about 10 years to complete. And that's how conservation works. It's a long time relationship building with landowners in the community. This park just represents so much of that. There's water access, there's picnic areas, there's a beautiful waterfall, it's great wildlife habitat, so it's good for people and nature. So I'm happy to be here today talking to you. In 2008, I was the only staff person working less than full time, and we did a lot of great work. The scale wasn't as big as it is now, and in my time here, we've now grown. We have a staff of 12 now, and we've recently merged with the Catchance River Education Alliance, so we're super excited about what that will bring to our efforts and our ability to connect future generations to land and get them excited about, nature and stewarding it forever, because that's what land trusts do, right? Every time we conserve a property, we're making a commitment to conserve it forever. And if we don't get the next generation involved and excited and caring about the land, we're really not going to be able to meet that forever commitment. Other ways that we've really grown is our program work. I think from the beginning, we were good at land conservation, taking care of the land. But really, when we conserved Crystal Spring Farm, the first phase of it in the late 90s, the community just really embraced the work of the Land Trust. They recognize why it's important to conserve natural assets in our community. We really branched out from land conservation and stewardship into the connecting people to the land part of our mission. So starting the farmers market and the community garden, working with others in the community to start the Merry Meeting Food Council, working with our municipalities and community groups to meet needs related to our natural resources. As the New Mainer communities have grown in the Brunswick area, we heard that they wanted places to grow their own food, and we've set up a couple of community gardens to allow that to happen. And that's one of the things I really like about the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. The board and the staff members are really open to being creative about meeting the needs of the community and are really willing to say yes to things that, it would be for sure easier to say no to. So those are some of the things that I'm really proud of in my work here. Other ways that the organization has really grown in the time that I've been involved is in land conservation realm. We've now conserved over 3,200 acres of land across the towns of Brunswick-Topsham and Bowdoin, and we've grown our capacity as an organization to be able to meet the needs and the goals that we've set out. So when I started, we had an endowment of about $18,000, and now it's almost $2 million. I'm really proud that we've done this because this allows us to really ensure that we can steward the lands we've conserved forever. We have over 1,200 members in our local community supporting our work. To me, that's also such a strong indication of how much the community values what we do, because that's a lot of people in some pretty, not very big populous towns. So I think that the fact that we have so many members supporting the work that we do feels good. And whenever any of the staff or board members or volunteers are out and about on our properties, we're always running into people who love the areas. They're so grateful for the work that we do. And it's one of the things that I think makes this work of working at Land Trusts feel so good. It's such tangible feedback from the community that you're making a difference. Our efforts to conserve land up and down the corridor of the Catance River have been really supported by the town. They've contributed money to some of the projects. The town, for instance, here at Head of Tide, co-manages this property with the Land Trust. They own it, and we hold an easement, and we work together to manage it. And in Brunswick, the Land Trust goals and the town's goals are really aligned around conserving natural resources. So the shore frontage and access to it, making sure we have places for trails, conserving farmland and prime farmland soils, and making sure that we have a productive and healthy agricultural economy is really important. And I think that those really trusted relationships with our municipalities has contributed a lot to the success of this land trust. And I'm really grateful for that support we've had from our towns. I definitely, as a kid, I grew up in the towns of Turner and Auburn, and my family is very outdoor oriented. Every day we're, catching pollywogs and turtles and canoeing and swimming. Fishing was a big part of my life. My family did it a lot all over. And I think that a big part of, as I was growing up and appreciating nature more and starting to think about what I might want to do with my life, I was very fortunate in that my father's business was a small airport in Turner, Twitchell's airport. So we, got to fly all over the state into remote ponds and really remote areas no one else got to see, and to experience that sort of natural beauty and having access to it really left a big mark on me. But also growing up in the Lewiston, Auburn, Turner area with the Androscoggin River when it was really polluted, the Androscoggin River as a lovely place. You probably boat on it and swim in it, and it's an asset in the community. But when I was growing up, it was really polluted and brown and foam and dead fish, and pollution was just high on my mind for a young person. So pretty early on, I knew that I wanted to get involved in some environmental cause for my future career. Conservation, I really wasn't familiar with so much growing up. What drew me to that is that it's sort of pragmatic solution to some of our environmental problems, and making sure that we're having a permanent impact. That's very appealing about the work that we do, is that we're doing things that will last forever. And there aren't many career choices where you can say that. So for me, that's a big part of the way I got into it, but also that it's a pragmatic, there's a lot of branches of the environmental movement and ways that you can engage to make a difference that are very divisive. And conservation in general, especially in Maine, people of all political persuasions, different philosophies, love nature. And for different reasons really want to make sure that we conserve natural habitat, conserve access to it for people, make sure our natural resource industries are thriving, like agriculture and fisheries. So I kind of love that nature of this work, that you're bringing people together rather than dividing them is really important to me. I had been working on a land conservation project with a family over a number of years, and we started, and it was jointly owned family land, and it became obvious pretty early on that different family members didn't necessarily agree, but there was one family member who just knew in his heart that his parents would have wanted to see this property conserved. They would not have wanted to see it develop. The honor of getting to work with him as he negotiated his way through some really difficult family decisions, and in the end we together were able to conserve this property that meant so much to him and his family. And got to know his kids, and they're so happy that this now is protected forever for their kids and future generations. It was just a really meaningful project. And then when we finished, he gave me a gift, which was a picture of me and Jack and some others his lawyer and a consultant who had worked on it, sitting together. And in the frame he wrote, "Thank you, Angela, for a dream come true." And this means a lot to me because you think about this work and the broad public benefit that we're bringing, and that's, a big reason that we do it. But when we do land conservation, that we can bring that much meaning to a family and impact individuals in that way is something that I always really cherish. Most I've worked on dozens of land conservation projects while I've been here, and that part of, having a pretty intense relationship with a family over sometimes many years, and then bringing it to a close where they've met their goals and we've done some great work to conserve land for the community, is always surprisingly emotional. Like, everyone gets a little emotional. And I really value that part of this work. And then the other time that I really paused and took stock of why this work is so important, and it really, you do get stuck in the drudgery of day to day, right? All of the meetings and doing finances and things that aren't always that much fun. But during COVID was a time that it really hit home to me why the work that we do is important, right? We were all sent for a loop collectively as a society, and couldn't go out, couldn't do all of our regular things and connect with people in the ways that we could before. But one thing we could all do was get outside, and one of the only places local that people could do it was on land trust properties, because we work hard to have public trails, and our trails were just so well used and valued. And we had so many people say, "Thank you for providing this land. It's the only time I could get out of my house, or the only way I could talk to my mother." And for me, that really held up the real tangible public benefit that we do every time we conserve a property and open up to the public, right? People who have lots of money, millionaires, can buy bits of land and have access to the coast and rivers. But normal people who make normal amounts of money, if we don't conserve public places for them, they are not going to have access to the places that are really most special about Maine. So COVID really raised that up for me. I mean, I knew it was important, but the way that so many people really came to understand the value of land conservation in that moment hit home. I'm a little bittersweet about leaving this organization that I've been a part of for 23 years and executive director for 15. It's a long time to commit, fully of yourself to something. I have 4 children, and they all grew up. Every preserve I think of, oh yeah, when Parker was a baby, we conserved that one. And my kids and their friends have grown up on a lot of these properties. So it's emotional to leave a place that you love as much as I love the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. I've been so lucky to have amazing staff grow this organization with me, who are so committed to the goals of this organization. And the board members currently and over the years that I've gotten to work with are some of the most dedicated giving, generous people that I've ever met in my life. So it's hard to say goodbye to that, an organization that it does so much good and I have learned so much from. But it seems like the right time for me to move on. I'm going to be working at Maine Coast Heritage Trust, so not going too far. But I have nothing but enthusiasm for this organization as I say goodbye. The recent merger with the Catance River Education Alliance is so exciting, and there is just, I think, boundless opportunity to more fully connect with the community and let people know and educate them on the wonderful natural areas we are lucky to have here in this area. And the staff that I leave behind are incredibly committed, capable. They're so enthusiastic about the possibilities that are out there. And I know they will find a wonderful executive director to take my place, because it's a really great organization and community for someone to want to come into and move this organization forward to the next, 23 years from now. So even though it's bittersweet, I really mostly am excited to see where this organization goes in the future.